Hello and welcome back to Warcraft Daily for today, the 21st of March 2013. 2014 even. Wow, I can't believe I still made that mistake. Anyway, so we've got a number of rather interesting things in today's news. First of all, there are some new female dwarf renders on the official site. Then we have a bit of talk about PvP and just how we'll be getting into it in terms of the difference between green gear and conquest gear. Then some stuff about Reaper of Souls, and finally I'm going to round off the show with a few blue tweets. So first of all, there are new female dwarf renders up on the official site. You can go look at them yourself or just look at the screen, which you're undoubtedly doing right now. Probably. Anyway, so they're actually looking very solid in my opinion. I like the original model they showed, and honestly this one is very similar, just that it has a slightly different face. Now of course that's probably just a different customization option face. Now honestly I think that this face is quite a bit better. Some of the facial features look a little bit more defined and expressive, which definitely helps. Another nice thing is that instead of showing nothing but the character laughing or calling, they actually showed some slightly more tame emotes. I think in some of the previous model screenshots, they've just shown characters like, roaring, laughing and things like that, and that doesn't really show you what the actual character's face looks like too well. So hopefully they continue this trend of just giving us some of the more idle faces and that kind of thing. But overall, it's looking very good, and I think the dwarves are... well, maybe they're not the most exciting model update, but I think they're certainly one of the ones they look like Warcraft dwarves. They just fit so well in comparison to the sort of image of a dwarf from Warcraft that I have in my head. So overall, very well done. Okay, so next we have a blue post from Lore, and this is in regards to the difference between people in green PvP gear and then Conquest PvP gear. Right now what happens is that if you're in greens, you will get your ass handed to you and you will literally have zero chance of winning. Lore actually said that while the difference won't be as large as it is now, they're still going to definitely preserve a sense of gear progression, and a Conquest gear player will still be able to easily dispatch someone that is just, coming in with some basic greens. Overall, that's the way it should be in my opinion, but what they do want to do is just smooth out the brick wall at the start. One of the things that they want to emphasize is that new players can still feel like they're useful in a battleground. So I'd say that maybe if you have new players that can single out and kind of divide and conquer more gear players, then it could help. Because right now, honestly, if you are in full Conquest gear and you go up against even 4 people who are just in regular, crappy greens, you'll destroy them easily. So that's definitely a thing that they will hopefully level out. I think one of the big issues with PvP is that so many people have their first experience being horrible. They queue up to a battleground because they hit night and you think, oh, what's this cool feature? And then they get destroyed. So you still want to be able to allow those people to feel like they're at least helping out in some sort of regard. Now, there are definitely ways in which they can improve things. First of all, I think that Ashran is going to help out a lot. Ashran, in terms of gearing, should allow people to do the objectives and things like that, and then at least collect a decent set of gear. Maybe if Ashran was somewhere in between Honor gear and Conquest in terms of item level, I suppose that would work out kind of well. So yeah, I think Ashran, all in all, is definitely going to help out with the gearing problem. Then I think there's also a matchmaking way of fixing this as well. I don't know if they do it already, but I think they should definitely prioritize matchmaking to players that are within a similar item level bracket. Now, I don't mean splitting things off into brackets, I think that would be terrible. But if you take, say, I don't know, if the first 5 people to pop into your queue have got an item level that's kind of in and around, let's say the median is, I don't know, 496, let's just say they pop in like that, or hell, even 483, let's just say that. Well, when looking for additional players to fill out that battleground, perhaps it could just look for ±1 from 483, and then if it can't find anyone, look ±2, ±3, and just keep on expanding that search out, so that it should hopefully capture a sample of players with the correct, or at least near to the correct item level, instead of just having groups that may have, 5 players that are fully Conquest geared, 5 completely new players, or, a few players that don't even have PvP gear. I think that's a bit of an issue at the minute, and I don't know if their matchmaking system does that functionality already, but I think there's probably room for improvement. That said, it does depend on the amount of people that queue for Battlegrounds, so if they can only find 20 people to fill, a Twin Peaks or whatever, then I guess they can only find 20 people, and that's about that. Okay, so the next bit of news is about Hearthstone and Reaper of Souls. They've announced an initiative where you can get Hearthstone packs from just purchasing Reaper of Souls. It doesn't have to be a pre-order, but if you pre-order, you will receive them, as of now, instantly. The standard edition will net you one pack of expert cards, and expert cards are really just what they call packs of cards. I don't even know why they say expert. Anyway, and the digital deluxe or collector's promotion or edition will get you 3 packs. I think this is all fair enough, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see the cross-promotion in the future. Of course, it's pretty terrible in terms of the actual value for money for getting the cards, but it's definitely an added extra, which is very good. And then it's also just likely another great way to get people into Hearthstone for Blizzard. And if you have free packs, then I suppose a lot of people are going to think, well, I might as well use them, and they're right to think that. Between this and the Hearthsteed, though, there are definitely quite a few ways for people to be prodded into Hearthstone without them really going there for Hearthstone originally, so hopefully if Hearthstone is good enough, then it will capture the people when they go in to try it. And then also, I would imagine that Warlords of Draenor will get a similar treatment in terms of Hearthstone packs. Do bear in mind that despite being active for months, Reaper of Souls only got the feature 6 days before launch. So yeah, that's it with the Hearthstone packs, but I think it's just worth saying that Blizzard have a lot of properties right now. They're all, to some degree, online and multiplayer, and kind of interconnected in that regard. What this means is that Blizzard pre-orders and Blizzard Collector's Editions can provide a better value to the consumer than a lot of other things. Now, obviously, Collector's Editions, Digital Deluxes, they don't, I guess, add fantastic value for money stuff, but they add interesting cosmetic options that a lot of people will find interesting. But here's the thing, if you say pre-order the Warlords of Draenor Deluxe, and hypothetically, you got a new card back for Hearthstone, you maybe got, I know some other vanity things, you get a few packs for Hearthstone, you get Diablo things, StarCraft things, Warcraft things, and then you get Heroes of the Storm things. Maybe you could get a limited edition skin or limited edition character tint, various things like that. There is so much cross-promotion that Blizzard can do, and what I would hope is that the digital deluxe for a Blizzard game would still cost the typical, $60, $70, whatever it costs right now, but would just increase in value to the point where someone who plays a Blizzard game would actually be in the situation where getting a digital deluxe would be worth their money. Because right now, I think that honestly, and Blizzard are not really as foul for this as any other company is, but if you look at, say, Titanfall and a lot of other things, the digital deluxes are absolutely disgustingly priced. They often say, oh, it's okay, you're buying DLC, but the DLC that you buy in advance, you don't even know what it is. You could be Bioshock Infinited and get something crappy like that Sky Arena DLC that they got. But overall, I think this is just a good opportunity for Blizzard to really offer good value collector's editions and things like that. And then, of course, for pre-orders as well. And though I'm traditionally not much of a pre-order person, I know I have done it for Warlords, so I'm going to sound like a bit of a hypocrite, but I still think that for a lot of games anyway, there's a bit of an issue with giving people money before you get the product. I don't think it's as bad with Blizzard though, because they have a tendency of delivering on what they say. In terms of actually, making a quality game, not in terms of things like Dance Studios. Anyway, so finally we're just going to round off the show with a few tweets. The first one is from Celestalin, and he said that they've actually thought numerous times about nerfing Warlocks in patch 5.4, but they actually came to the conclusion that they're going to leave it to Warlords of Draenor so that they do not upset the current raid groups and things like that. Basically, a group that was on the cusp of a kill would be hurt extremely by a nerf to a Warlock, so they just don't want to screw that up. Now, that may seem crazy to some people, but you really need to understand the degree of overpower that Warlocks are at the minute in terms of the high-end game. I don't have the numbers with me, and I did cover them previously, but I think they were averaging about, I think it was either somewhere between 40 and 60,000 more DPS than other classes on, for high-end play. Which is, of course, unbalanced, but right now, the high-end rating is settled into a metagame, and they don't want to disrupt that until Warlords. I think that's it's really this sort of thing where they could have went either way and I would have been happy enough, so I don't know, it just comes down to whatever your personal preference is. If you're a high-end raider though, what do you think about this? Because if you don't have access to a Warlock, then it could be argued that you are maybe not in as powerful a position. But that said, I guess a lot of high-end raid groups would try to get a few Warlocks in the group. Anyway, so next we have a tweet from Chris Robertson, who is the lead art guy over there, and he said that they plan on adding more customization options to character models in the future, but the Warlords of Draenor release will focus on the actual revamp of the existing options. I think that's fair enough, but the one thing I just want want to mention is that hopefully with these new animation rigs and things like that, they will have a more modernized workflow. And this more modernized workflow, just in terms of like pipelines and actual development and things, this should hopefully allow them to be able to create new customization options in a far quicker manner than maybe previously. Ultimately, I think it would be great if we could get various kinds of different night elves to the point where, more than just night elves, that was a shitty example, but whatever. Ultimately, though, what I think we should really be pushing for is sub-races. I think that's really interesting, and especially to the the roleplay community, it could provide a lot of enjoyment. Now, I'm not a roleplayer myself, but I think that it's always good if you can customize your character as much as possible and really get the character that you want to play in the game, because an avatar is, in a way, a representation of yourself. Okay, so that is it as far as news goes. In terms of things you can check out, well, there's my twitch.tv stream, which I will hopefully be able to stream at over the weekend. Then we have my Twitter link, Patreon, various things like that you can all find in the description. And with all that said, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.